to the Doctor Who Marathon. I'm your host McEdam, and today we're going to be talking about Scavenger, written by William Gallagher. This would be technically the departure story for Flip. She would later return to the Doctor Who audio dramas in a series of adventures that follow the Sixth Doctor, her, and another companion, Constantine. However, they take place much after this story, and I didn't get time to get them and get into them. So this will be the last time from my marathon that Flip appears, and I consider this her farewell story. And this story has a lot to talk about with the relationship between England, or the UK I should say, British, and India. And another thing to note, which I think is very important, well, it's important to me anyway, this story has the guest appearance of Andla Manhindra. She is an actress that appeared probably most well known for her appearance in the Sarah Jane Adventures, where she played one of her companions, Rani. However, for interests for me, she would later appear in the 13th Doctor story, Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror, where she played the villain in that story. And why that connects to this story is that her appearance in that episode allowed Big Finish an opportunity to give him a discount. If an actor who has appeared in some audio dramas appears in an episode of Doctor Who, Big Finish would then put on a sale for every audio drama that they appeared in for, I believe, a week until like the next episode aired. And it's thanks to her that I have this to begin with. So thank you. I don't know, you're not going to watch this, but you know. And this story, it's a very strange one. I'll put it to that. There's some bits I really like, some bits I'm not too keen on, and I don't know. But yeah, this is also the part of a loose trilogy. When this story aired, Big Finish got into the custom of making trilogies. So you would have 3 stories featuring the same TARDIS crew back to back with a very thin underlining thread. And this one would be the conclusion to this trilogy. It deals with the Doctor's regrets and him wanting to return to Perry. So it's not like a massive plot point. In fact, it only gets mentioned in this story right at the very end. But it's a very important thing to note if you are considering getting these. And I'll talk about that when I talk about the ending. So anyway, here's the official Big Finish CD cover with Flip and Colin Baker on the top. I really like the colouring on this, with the very like the colouring on their faces with like no like harsh lights. Makes it feel like this comes right out of an episode of Doctor Who around that time. And like always with these, I make my own DVD covers. This one I actually put together myself. I kind of improvised a bit because I couldn't find a better image of this, so I kind of altered it a lot for this bit. As you can see, I put the Indian flag as a kind of motif, and you've got the same image as on the front, and I've changed the things around and stuff, so that's really cool. Here is the spine if anyone is interested. Oh my god. And like always, here's the back. Because I knew for a fact this story is set on a space station, so it's mainly around in space, I just put a generic photo of a space lights up there, so that's really cool. Now, right off the bat, you might be really confused, as I was. It seemed like the last story, the Brood of Eras, of Eri, set up the Doctor going on the search for Perry. However, right in this story, the story doesn't even mention it. Personally, it doesn't bother me that much, but I know some people might be a bit criticised for not tying the trilogy really more tightly together. And it feels like there has been some time passed since that last story. On here, the Doctor and Flip land on the space station Mandela, named after Nelson Mandela. This is a spaceport where they can look at, they look down and they see India. This space station is right on top of India, and it is a joint production between India and well, I think it's like they say Angle, which is an old-fashioned term for English people, I presume. So basically British. It's an Indian-British production, and the Doctor then meets Jyoti, this very enthusiastic filmmaker who's trying to make. I don't know if she's making a documentary or a sci-fi film, but she's hoping to get a bit of. She's got permission to film scenes of the new satellite going up, the Salvage 2, and the Doctor and Flip talks to Jyoti and get to know her. And right off the bat, she is a fantastic character. You really get to know her. She's just this innocent bystander that gets caught up in the adventure. And right throughout the story, her and Flip become really close friends by it, and you really root for her. She basically is the third party to this crew at the moment, which is really cool. And this is the character that Anjay is playing. So right off the bat, great actress playing a great role. No complaints off me so far. We get some scenes also at the base station, setting up the satellite of Salvage 2, which this ship is supposed to clean up. It has part of this clean-up space program in which it's going to go up and try and clean out all the debris. And a lot of this is really scientifically accurate, and is very topical to space exploration, as humans like now today, we pollute space when we send up astronauts and spacecrafts up into space. We leave a lot of things in the stratosphere, and what's that doing is that it's leaving a lot of debris that's clambering into space. If you've seen the film Gravity, you know what I'm on about. Side note, go watch Gravity, it's a great film. And the Doctor notices something odd as Salvage 2 gets sent up to space. However, something seems odd. It doesn't seem like it seems like from their point of view that it's exploded, and it's like the trajectory is really off, until the Doctor notices that the satellite is actually heading straight for the Mandela space station, and that he plans to take his TARDIS in between them and prevent the collision. The Doctor and Flip. The Doctor originally plans to take Flip with him, but Flip decides that she's much better off staying there in case they need to evacuate people and need to get people off, to which the Doctor reluctantly agrees to, and so he leaves her there. And that will be the last time they see each other for the majority of the story, as the story kind of splits in two, as the Doctor tries to communicate with the two leaders of the salvage project, because this thing, the salvage 2, is supposed to be automatic. Nobody is on the ship. However, somebody has taken over their communications and headed it straight for the Mandela. We later learn that there's two characters. The British leader of this project is Jessica Alway, and there's this, and the Indian representative of this is, it says here Salam, but I'm pretty sure he has a name before that, a pseudonym, before he gets revealed to be Salam. And they basically hate each other's guts. I mean, they work together, but they hate each other's guts. And the Doctor's trying to communicate with them and trying to get them to reason with each other whilst working on how to get the projection off course, and which he succeeds. However, they later track up another signal, which starts crashing more debris onto the Mandela. Only a little bit breaks up. However, it's the place where Flip and Tochi is at. Luckily, they have spacesuits on, and they wear them, and they're hovering in space, and the Doctor tries to navigate other satellites to organise their trajectory so they can hold on and transport into a much more safer environment. Now, one of my issues of this story is that when we have scenes with Flip and Jyoti in the space costumes, in the spacesuits, they talk through a radio on their headsets, and it's really hard to hear either of the girls when we're in this segment. It's a lot of dialogue. I had to rewind to try and get everything. Some bits I didn't know if it was intentional, if you're not supposed to hear anything, or at least like it's fading out, or if I generally am struggling to hear them because of the audio mix is a bit poor in this one, which is a really odd thing to say for Big Finish, because usually they are very good at this sort of stuff, especially when this came out. This came out in, according to the box, 2014. I mean, it's got the 2013 logo on here, so it's definitely around that time, if not the year before. That's just a little tangent for that. But anyway, we later learn that there has been a spacecraft. They call it a zombie ship. It's called the Scavenger, and it's an alien spacecraft that basically it's basically like fueled with like robots who go around and basically salvage anything they can to repair themselves. Think the Clockwork droids from the Girl in the Fireplace episode, the 10th Doctor adventure. It's very similar in concept with that. They even need a avatar, a human host, and at this part of the story they're actually looking for a new one, and they capture Flip, and that she's going to become their new host. Jyoti gets back into the Mandela and communicates with the Doctor, and obviously the Doctor's trying to organise a peace between the two factions, the Jessica and Salam. However, Salam seems to be talking about more. He knows more than what he's saying. He accidentally like slips up that it's like, no, don't do that. Don't do this. They'll kill her. They'll kill him, as if he knows more. And we get a little reveal into his character. This, I guess, you can say is a spoiler, but it's a really weird plot point. Or at least I think it's really weird. It turns out that he is actually an Indian prince from way years, I think it says 500 years ago, and that these scavenger aliens had come down to planet Earth before, and they scanned him and his princess, his girlfriend. I don't know who she was to him, like a partner. I don't know. But anyway, they scanned the both of them, and they kidnapped her, and their scans accidentally gave him immortality, or at least they slowed the age rate. And so he has been living for at least 500 years, and that he's actually been planning some of this so that he can get back onto the ship and hopefully rescue her, his girlfriend. But the Doctor quickly points out that despite them probably having the same effects of being having an age rate slowed down to the point where it's where she looks like she hasn't on that same day. There's still other things to factor in, like oxygen and other stuff. And the Doctor states that she is most likely dead. And so the Doctor plans really to only really focus on Flip. The Doctor has a plan of basically going up there and hoping that him being a Time Lord would be a much more better sacrifice, shall we say, for the scavengers. Sorry. That's all good. However, Flip actually meets a human being on the ship. She is the princess actually Salam is looking for. She seems to be acting a bit strange. At one point she asks Flip to take her helmet off, and that and Flip is like, hold on, there's no oxygen. But okay, I'll trust you because you seem like a nice person. And she tries to take the helmet off, but can't. And she's trying to ask for this person help, but she won't. And then she asks, what, is there so there's oxygen here, is there? And this woman goes, no, the scavengers need to take your helmets off, so you'd be better to be assimilated into their computer programs. They need a human mind so that they can go around plotting courses. And at one point, because of this character, the scavenger actually heads out to an area of India and starts attacking people. It later learns the Salvage 2's objective of trying to clean up space. But instead of actually cleaning up space, it actually starts killing people, believing that they are the garbage, that they are the ones making all this havoc. And the Doctor basically communicates through Flip on a screen. Salam actually is like, wait, you're talking to my partner, my beloved, put her on screen. And Flip is like, okay, and then she walks off the screen, and then Salam's like, I can't see anything. I can't see anybody there. And the doctor states that she has been dead. She's been dead for years. Her body has decayed. However, her mind has been processed into being assimilated into this computer program. And that because Flip is being converted, she can see this girl. And the doctor then organises Flip to think of somewhere you really far away, somewhere you really want to go, and the ship gets then teleports away, trying to find Atlantis, which is we get some nice references to previous Doctor Who stories, where the Doctor states that there actually are multiple Atlantises. It's really confusing. The way he words it, it sounds like there's something a bit more than just a few places with the same name. As if there's some sort of something that's connecting them all. And that Atlantis, the main Atlantis, is something far more mysterious. That's only a little plot point in this story, but yeah. The performances in this story are really well done. You get some of the great emotions from the ruthless Jessica, who basically only cares really for publicity, and she wants Britain to take all the credit. You got Salam, whose motive keeps changing throughout the story. But his plot point of him being this 500-year-old prince who has been made immortal and stuff seems like a really strange plot element. It seems very bizarre. It actually ties into a famous Indian short story. I don't know the actual story itself about a prince and his missing princess. The Doctor actually states at one point he knows that these are fictional because he met the person who wrote it. And then the Doctor's like, hold on. And this character is like, Salam is like, he's got the same height, he's the same build as me. And then he states that you're not the same Doctor that I remember, the great wanderer traveller that I remember. So it's stated basically that a previous incarnation of the Doctor has met Salam. I like this whole mass connecting things like that, but it seems just really strange, and it seems like we had this character who is trying to look for his partner who's kidnapped by aliens, and he's made this whole scheme to try and get her back. But somebody wanted it to tie into that story, and so we've got this plot element. Later, the Doctor and Salam argue as Salam basically offers himself to be the sacrifice, and the Doctor's like, no, you can't. But Jessica actually knocks the Doctor out, hitting him on the back of the head. And Salam goes onto the spacecraft and absorbs himself, and the ship teleports away. The Doctor states that when he wakes up that Flip will try and actually jump off because she's wearing a spacecraft, and she will get rescued. However, when he communicates with Jyoti, she states she's not there, but her camera has been communicated and that she's got a recording. And so the Doctor gets the recording, and here Flip basically at the edge of jumping off, and we get the conclusion to this story in a way, which I'm a bit 50-50 on, if I must be honest. What happens is that Flip basically, knowing that there's some communication with the doctor, that the doctor's going to hear this, states that, don't worry, I know why you took me to the Mandela ship. You wanted me to basically become homesick, to look at Earth and get homesick so I would return home so you can go back to travelling with Perry, and that you don't want me around. I'm useless, I just cause havoc, I just cause problems all the time, and you want to be with be reunited with your friend, and three's a crowd, I guess, which is kind of ironic because she will appear in a 3 TARDIS team later on, but what do I know? And what really is the dramatic meat of this scene, which really kind of breaks my heart, is that she's stating it's like, don't worry, Doctor, I know that you weren't really, you didn't really like me, that I was kind of annoying, you want to go back to your old friend. And Colin Baker hearing this, you can really feel like he's tearing up. And he's like, no, Flip, that's not true. He's like he's like trying to talk to her through a recording. He's like, no, it's not true. I didn't plan for you to get homesick. And she's like, when you save me, I'm going to take a massive risk. I'm going to jump off the ship, and either A, I'm just going to be left into space to die, or you will find a way to save me. But either way, when we get back into the TARDIS, I understand I've become homesick and I want to return to Earth, and she wants to go back to a normal place in time. And the Doctor's just, you can actually, I think, hear him cry up, which I think is a very rare occasion for any Doctor, specifically a classic Doctor, to get teary-eyed. I could only name a handful of occasions when the Doctor has actually cried. Mainly, the 10th Doctor cried a lot during his era, now that I think about it. And some 11 Doctors, but you rarely hear a classic Doctor, especially the 6th Doctor. And he's like, no, please, Flip. I don't want you to do it. This is a massive risk. If you jump off, you're just going to be expanded in space and there's nothing I can do. And the story ends on actually a cliffhanger in which she jumps off and she screams as the Doctor screams in the recording, no! And we actually then hear the title sequence play. And that's actually the end of the story. Now, before I talk about my opinions on that ending, I also got to talk about what happens in the next story, in the overall chronicle of Doctor Who. A story which I will say, personally, doesn't interest me at all, because in my because I feel like that Perry should really have died during Mind Warp. But anyway, the next story chronologically sees the 6th Doctor, I believe it's called the Widow's Assassin, goes looking for Perry and finds her. And during that story, apparently, what I've read on Wiki, is that it's stated offhandedly that he rescued Flip and returned her back to Earth, to where she belonged. And that's how Flip's stories in her first era, because like I said, she has basically 2 eras. That's how her era ends. I'm not too keen on how they've handled Flip's departure. Yes, I really like the scene in which the Doctor's here in this recording and he's broken up that she's misinterpreted his suggestions that they come to this Mandela and keep exploring. And she thought that it was basically him trying to tell her, right, I want you to go home so I can go looking for Perry. What this really does for the viewers, which really annoyed me in a way, is that this happened in a few other stories, not just in Doctor Who, but like comic books and TV series and just in general. This is basically just setting up for another character, and it's written in a way that makes Flip feel very unimportant, as if to the Sixth Doctor she's just another companion. The trilogy, which this is the final of, is all about the Doctor trying to missing Perry and stuff. And the story ends with Flip being chucked off and on a massive cliffhanger. But to have the next story brush it up aside to be like, Perry, you're back! Oh, give me a hug. Makes you feel like the production goes, okay, we're over with Flip now. Who cares about Flip? Hey, Perry's back. Look, you remember Perry. She's from the TV show. So I really didn't like that. It's a powerful scene, don't get me wrong. But it really should have had a conclusion. We should have seen at least Flip die, but obviously she didn't die, or the Doctor rescuing her, having a chat about it, discussing their feelings, and then coming a conclusion out of this. And it kind of breaks my heart because throughout these stories I was really enjoying the Flip character. She really took me by surprise. She was basically big finishes, Rose, Donna, Copycat, a tradition they also pulled with Lucy Miller, and it's one of those characters you listen to and you hear the way she speaks, and all these like pop culture references, and like with Donna, it's the same feelings I have with Donna Noble. It's a character who I thought I would really learn to hate, and she would get on my nerves. But the first story where she's a proper companion, throughout and the majority of her stories, I really liked her as a companion. And I really think that she deserved a lot better than the ending that she got in this story. Into which it feels like they shoved her to a side for another companion. Oddly enough, again, that ties again up with Donna, who kind of had a similar thing when the 10th Doctor was constantly like, Rose this and Rose that. So that's really bizarre. Flip is the 6th Doctor's equivalent of Donna Noble. That basically sums it up. If you are looking for the 6th Doctor meets up with Donna, then you're going to love the Flip era, and I highly recommend you try them out yourselves. But just be prepared that her era, or at least her first era, like I stated, she would later return in a series of stories where she's in a 3 TARDIS team, and they travel along. I'm personally not a fan of companions coming, then going, and then coming back and having a series of adventures. I like it when it's like one or two off, but to have like, again, chunks of eras of themselves, I'm not particularly keen on that. And like I said, I haven't had time to get those stories and to get them in for my marathon here. So in my mind, this sadly is the conclusion of the Flip era. And it's, I don't know, I kind of feel like, I know this might sound really stupid, but I do kind of feel like I don't want to end this video because that means that the Flip era is over Go check out the Flip story. She might have some terrible stories. I don't know. I mean, I've only listened to, I believe I have like 1/3 of her era on her own. But I really enjoyed the stories that she's in. I don't want to end this, but I guess I have to. So that's the Scavenger. So join me next time where the Doctor has got a job and he has to track out some spies during World War II, and he gets to meet up with a new friend. So join me next time for Criss Cross, and I'll see you next time on the Doctor Who Marathon. Ta-da!